History Month, Storytime 7. I am back. So today, the topic is racism versus anti-racist. So, I am an anti-racist attorney, and that means that I prioritize policies, procedures, and ideals that push forward an anti-racist world. So a lot of people, they say if you accuse something of being racist, or say if you accuse a policy of being racist, some people will say that's not racist, or they will say I'm not racist. So I'm specifically talking about that. A lot of times when people say I'm not racist or that's not racist, they're basically evading any responsibility. And so if you're an anti-racist, that means that you don't automatically say that something is not racist just because you're not familiar with it. And so a big part of being anti-racist is you don't have to personally identify with something to say, I know that's racist. An example is black women's hair is a huge topic. And black women's hair has been a target of white supremacists, a target of racism, a target of all these policies for years and years and years. A lot of times now when black women bring up their hair, some people who have curly hair who are not black, they will say, oh, I identify with that because I have curly hair. But it's like, if you didn't have curly hair, or if you were someone who couldn't identify with that, you would say, well, that doesn't exist. And so what we have to do is we have to take out the need for you to identify with, or for you to have a reference point as a white person, because that means that you're centering whiteness in your determination of if something is racist or not. So, like I said, as an anti-racist attorney, I have a different perspective than, say, someone else who is anti-racist. So, a lot of doctors are anti-racist, a lot of psychologists are anti-racist, a lot of educators are anti-racist, and all of these people are very important to the movement, and they have their own vantage point for anti-racism. My vantage point for anti-racism specifically comes from a criminal justice mindset. So I spent 10 years, I spent 10 years formally studying criminal justice. And then I spent the last, I would say 15 years practicing, teaching outside in the community about criminal justice and all these criminal issues. So my mindset is the way that black people are treated in the criminal justice system is very racist. And so as an anti-racist attorney, I work every day to combat these issues. And it goes anywhere from the language being used, from the policies and procedures, from the neighborhoods that certain things happen in. You can talk to people who are police officers. You can talk to people who are mayors. You can talk to people who are politicians, and you can ask them certain questions that would help you determine if they're racist or not. An example, I was speaking to a mayor of a city that's predominantly white, a city that also has had historical issues of racism, a city that a lot of black people don't want to go in because they fear the racism. And I asked them about their lack of diversity on certain departments. And this mayor told me that they would love to have more black people, but black people have to pass a drug test. And I was like, huh? So she just engaged in a racist mindset. She engaged in a white supremacist mindset that is not backed at all by any data, by any numerical information. The idea that black people, number one, are drug addicts is a racist ideal. So as an anti-racist attorney and someone who teaches on anti-racism, this is something that I always try to point out because it's a huge problem. So she didn't even understand that the thought that black people, number one, have to pass a drug test, that's the first reason why you don't have black people, is obviously it's egregious, obviously it's racist. Black people are not the number one drug users and drug dealers. It's actually white people that are the number one drug users and drug dealers in America, in every state. So that's just something that is it's something that a lot of people say about Black people that's absolutely not true. It's also something that justifies the fact that although Black people make up a certain percentage of the population, we have a racial disparity in representation in the criminal justice system. So it makes it easier for people who are not anti-racist to say, well, I know why a lot of Black people are in jail, because they're criminals. I know why a lot of Black people go to prison, because they're all they're all drug dealers and drug users. It's a cop out for people who are racist to depend on racist ideals and say that that's the reason why. Another example, I was talking to a prominent person on Kansas City media on the radio about racist policies in nightclubs, talking about how some nightclubs and some insurance companies will have rules against playing rap music, which is obviously a predominantly black people rap. Predominantly Black people love rap, even though right now hip hop is the number one genre in the world. So these nightclubs have rules against playing rap music. And so obviously that's a racist ideal. So when I was talking to the guy on the radio, he told me that it's actually not a racist ideal, because you should be scared of Black people congregating. You should be afraid if two Black people come up to your car in a parking lot. And I said, actually, that's racist. So it's like they try to explain why something's not racist, and it actually makes it even more racist. So these ideals of Black people are scary, Black people are criminals, Black people do drugs, do sell drugs, Black people are alcoholics, Black people are dumb, Black people are all of these negative things. These are what racists actually cling to in order to maintain that they're not racist. So it's actually insane. So a lot of these things are the reason why we have police brutality as well. Because police brutality upon Black people, if you scroll through comments, it's always, well, if Black people weren't always criminals, or if Black people weren't always committing crimes, or if Black people weren't doing this. These are all reasons to explain racism with more racism. So even with the crime rate, like I said, I study criminal justice, so I understand what happened with the crime rate. The crime rates are first of all, they only report certain crimes. So a lot of people talk about the crime rate of Black people is actually inaccurate, because it's not every crime. I mean, clearly, let's look at something called white collar crimes. White collar crimes are not reported on that crime rate. So the crime rate probably has 5 or 6 crimes on it. And then a lot of these crimes go unreported when they're not committed by quote unquote Black people, or allegedly committed by Black people. So basically there's a stigma that the reason why prisons and jails are filled with Black people is because Black people commit more crime, and it's actually not true. It's not numerically true. It's not statistically true. What is true is that if a Black person and a white person appear in front of the judge for the same crime, that Black person is more likely to get charged harsher, to get longer sentences, and to stay in jail or prison longer. These are just the facts. There's racial biases with our criminal justice system. There's racial biases with police. Police automatically see Black people as a threat. They automatically see Black women as having an attitude or as being angry, which is a racist ideal. Prosecutors automatically charge Black people higher, and judges, when they see a Black person, they charge them harsher, or they're harsher on them. So all of these things, to me, it goes back to being anti-racist, and it goes back to the fact that people who are racist use racist ideals to explain their racism and to say that they're not. So that's why I'm very particular on language that is used. I'm very particular on reasoning that is used. When the mayor told me that Black people don't pass drug tests, it's a huge red flag. And she said it like it wasn't anything. She said it to a black woman, to a black woman anti-racist attorney, and didn't even consider that it would be racist. So this is just one of the things I want to talk about today. Are you, if somebody accuses a white person, if you're white and somebody accuses you of being racist, do you automatically say, I'm not racist? Or do you say, I may have benefited from systemic white supremacy. I may have had some racist ideals. And if you said those two things, you would be working to be anti-racist. You will be working the opposite of racism. But if you automatically say, I'm not racist, because everybody in the whole world says they're not racist. Everybody. Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. So let's be clear. It's only two sides of the coin. You're either racist or you're anti-racist. Which side are you on? Have a good day.